first day is he was saying, look, there are going to be a lot of physical things, but everything is going to be tied to me. The first and foremost thing that we have to understand about creation is creation does not exist without God. Now, if creation does not exist without God, then the world does not exist without God. One of the great things that I think we need to understand first and foremost about the beginning of time, about creation, about the beginning of this world, is that the beginning of this world was God. Again, John says it this way, in the beginning was God, and the Word was with God. God is the beginning of everything. Everything we have is about God. Everything we do is about God. And just like light is such a powerful force to the world, just like light leads us and guides us in so many things, just like light is a direction, it is a power, it is a warming, it is emotional, it is physical, it is all of these things. God is the same way. God is the cornerstone of everything we have. And God, when God saw light, he saw that it was good. Why was light good? Because it was a representation of himself. When God created light, God said, look, this is what I am to you spiritually. I am your all and all. Everything you ever need, everything you ever want, is tied up in the person and the presence of God. It is that warming light that is God.
Some evolutionists will say that to disprove the creation theory, will say that light was actually the Big Bang. That there was nothing there. All of a sudden, this photon exploded and created everything, and that created that initial light. So.
And now, am I correct? When we were talking about the Big Bang the other day, was it you that was telling me that they have tried to put the ingredients together that they thought created the Big Bang and they've not been able to form that?
To create life. Life takes a certain amount of chemicals: oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, helium. And scientists in the past have tried to take all those chemicals and mingle them together in order to create life, and have been unsuccessful. One scientist actually did it, but he did it falsely. He did it, it came out a little while later that it was he didn't actually create anything. All he did was remake something. And so scientists have tried to do that, to create life from the way that they say that the earth was and the chemicals that were surrounding it that started the first microbial being that evolutionists say started all life, and have yet been able to do it.
And so, evolutionists will tell us it was a bang. However,
God said it and bang, it happened.
That's right. And I think that over and over you find, I believe that the reason evolution is such a dangerous tool is because evolution it has a seed of truth. There are timelines in evolution and creation that match up. The problem is we understand that let there be light, that was the light. If you want to call it a bang, if you want to call, that was the beginning. There was an ignition of light. That ignition of light was the presence of God. It was the manifestation of what God is in our life and how God moves and touches and leads our life spiritually. Just as light leads and touches and guides our life physically.
And like you said, light is an energy source, and so that energy is what keeps us going, and the energy is what started it all.
Exactly. That energy is a powerful thing. This first day, as God sees this reflection of himself, and he understands, I think it's very neat before we close for today, I think it's very interesting that he created light, but he does something interesting with the light. It says that God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness, and he called the light day and the darkness night. God did not say, guess what, we're going to have light all the time. You know why? Because he knew that in life there were going to be bright times and dark times. There are going to be good times and bad times. But even in the darkness, we carry reflections of the light. And we're going to talk about that a little later on in our series as we talk about the creation of the sun and the moon and the reflections of the sun and the things like that. However, I think it's important for us to understand that we may not always live in high noon light. But there is always a glimmer of that light. There is always a reflection of that light. Every night has a day. To quote a nice spiritual thing, rock group Poison from the 1980s had a song that says, every night has its dawn. And when we go through dark hours and we go through dark times, we've got confidence that God's going to be there. When we get to the end of it, there's going to be a beautiful sunrise. I'll never forget. And I'm going to share this, and then I'm going to give Mike a chance to say a few things if he wants to close out a few things. And then we're going to close. But I'll never forget, a couple years ago, me and my wife had a privilege to go and stay in a condo on the beach in Rehoboth Beach, Maryland, Delaware. And the condo was on the 4th floor, and it had a big patio out to the ocean. And you could stand there and see the Atlantic Ocean, water as far as you could see, right on the beach. And I remember waking up, and it was about 4:30 or 5 in the morning. I thought, I'm going to get to see sunrise. And I waited and I waited. And I woke my wife up, and she wasn't as interested in seeing the sunrise as I was. And I remember sitting on the balcony. And from a darkness over the ocean is a dark, dark place at night. From a darkness over the ocean, all of a sudden, I saw the sun rise. It was an amazingly beautiful sight. Because from pure black, you could not see the horizon. All of a sudden, out there come the light. And it was brilliant. And it was beautiful. Why? Because the darkness had been engulfed with the light. God wanted us to see that his light overpowers sin's darkness every day. Every day we have the power to see God's power. You have anything to share?
To kind of go with the darkness thing that you were talking about, Iceland, the country Iceland, has the highest suicide rate in the world, and Alaska has the highest suicide rate in the United States because of the absence of light during the wintertime. A couple, just to close on my, like Tommy said, you have your own, you're going to have your own ideas and on what you believe in this, but these are some strengths of a young earth that I have. Genesis 1 explicitly describes normal days approximately 24 hours. Each when the narrative continually says there was evening and there was morning. And so from that, that's a young earth, that's a strength of young earth, that it will say it was evening and there was morning. Genesis 1 appears to describe consecutive days of creation. It indicates by the refrain, the day, the first day, the second day. The Sabbath commandment seems to assume a consecutive 24-hour day of creation when it's set forth in the pattern of 6 consecutive 24-hour days of labor. The potential for gaps in the genealogies allow for the dating of human ancestry postulated by modern science. Weaknesses of a young earth. Genesis 1 is highly stylized literature, and like the historical narratives we find in Scripture, it is quite similar in many respects to poetry, though it is also unlike the poetry in Scripture in some ways that we cannot clearly identify. The genre implies that we cannot clearly identify the communicative style or intentions. In other words, we cannot be certain that this intends